Unit 6, Violations, Penalties, and Procedures. Complaints, Hearings, Recovery Fund. Hi, I'm Anisha, your AI study partner with License to Learn. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor, License Closet, for supporting this video. License Closet offers an affordable way to hang your real estate license for just $149.99 per year, with no MLS required. This is a great option for agents who want to stay active, keep learning, and build at their own pace. You'll find the link below. This video is for educational purposes only. Florida real estate laws, rules, and procedures can change, so always verify current requirements through official Florida sources before relying on this information. This content is Florida specific and is a study guide, not a substitute for completing a state-approved course. Now, let's get into today's lesson. All right, Unit 6 is the Rules Have Consequences unit. If Units 1 to 5 taught you how to operate, this unit teaches you what happens when someone doesn't. On the state exam, they love to test 1. The discipline process, complaint, investigation, probable cause, hearing, final order. 2. What actions can get a license denied, suspended, or revoked. 3. The real estate recovery fund, who can get paid, how much, and when. 4. Key timelines and money limits. Think of Florida real estate regulation like airport security. Most days you just follow the process and walk through. But if someone flags your bag, there's a procedure, paperwork, and potential consequences. This unit is the What Happens After the Flag playbook. Quick check, question. What is the goal of discipline, revenge, or public protection? Answer, public protection. The whole system is designed to protect the public and the marketplace. Step 1 is usually a complaint filed with the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. Exam phrase you'll see, legally sufficient complaint. That means the complaint contains ultimate facts that, if true, show a violation of law or rule happened. Key details the exam likes. Complaints must be in writing, signed, and legally sufficient. The department can still investigate even if the person who complained tries to withdraw it. Anonymous complaints can be investigated only if they're legally sufficient and the alleged violation is substantial and there's reason to believe it's true after a preliminary inquiry. A confidential informant complaint can also be investigated under similar conditions. Timeline trigger. When the department starts investigating a subject, it generally must promptly provide the subject a copy of the complaint, with limited exceptions, and the subject can submit a written response within 20 days. Question: if the complainant takes it back, does the case automatically stop? Answer: no, the department can continue. After a complaint is found legally sufficient, the Division of Real Estate investigates. Then an investigative report goes to a probable cause panel. Probable cause is not guilty. It's more like, is there enough to move forward? Possible outcomes at this stage. No probable cause, case may be closed. Probable cause found, a formal administrative complaint is filed. Sometimes you'll see letter of guidance discussed as an outcome in the process. Now the case becomes more official. A formal administrative complaint, allegations and charges, gets sent to the licensee's address of record. Exam tip: if you see address of record, think it's on you to keep your license profile current. Once the formal administrative complaint is filed, the licensee gets hearing rights. 2 common exam-tested paths. 1. Informal hearing, usually when there's no dispute of material fact. 2. Formal hearing, before an administrative law judge when facts are disputed. In a formal hearing, the administrative law judge hears evidence, makes findings of fact. issues a recommended order, then the Florida Real Estate Commission issues the final order. Emergency action concept. A summary emergency suspension order can be used to protect the public when needed. Question: who issues the final order in the disciplinary case? Answer: the Florida Real Estate Commission. This is one of the most testable parts. Under Florida law, discipline can include reprimand, probation, suspension, up to 10 years, revocation, denial of an application, administrative fine up to $5,000 per count or separate offense. Question: what's the max administrative fine per offense? Answer: up to $5,000 per count or separate offense. Big bucket of bad acts you'll see: fraud, misrepresentation, concealment, false promises, dishonest dealing, culpable negligence, breach of trust. Also, misleading or deceptive advertising, and failing to account for or deliver money or documents when required. Separate but related exam favorite: unlicensed activity. Florida statutes prohibit operating as a broker or sales associate without a valid, current, active license. This can carry criminal penalties, including third-degree felony language in the statute. Self-report rule. Big timeline. Professional licensees must report certain criminal outcomes in writing within 30 days, convicted, found guilty, or certain pleas, regardless of adjudication. Question: how many days to self-report a qualifying criminal outcome? The law allows a lighter touch for an initial offense of a minor violation. Minor violation concept. A minor violation generally means it does not show a serious inability to practice and does not cause economic physical harm or create a significant threat to the public. Key timeline: if a notice of noncompliance is issued, failure to correct within 15 days can lead to regular disciplinary proceedings. Citations: some violations can be handled by citation with a stated fine conditions instead of a full disciplinary case. Exam trigger phrases: first time minor violation. Think notice of noncompliance. This is the consumer safety net concept, but it has strict rules. Who may be paid? Basic idea. The fund can reimburse someone who got a civil judgment for money damages caused by a licensee's act in a real estate brokerage transaction. If the licensee was active and acting solely as a licensee, not the buyer, seller, landlord, tenant, and the act violated Florida Discipline Prohibited Acts laws. Hard exam numbers. Payment limit up to $50,000, whichever is less. The unsatisfied judgment amount or $50,000. Same transaction cap, $50,000 total, even if multiple claimants parcels. Per licensee aggregate cap, $150,000 total for claims against one broker or sales associate. Eligibility timeline. Claim must be made within 2 years of the act or within 2 years of discovery or when it should have been discovered with due diligence. Absolute outside limit. No more than 4 years after the act. Automatic license consequence. If the fund pays out on a judgment against the licensee, that license is automatically suspended until the amount is repaid in full, plus interest. Recovery fund fee facts. Exam bait. $350 per year added for brokers. $150 per year added for sales associates. If the fund exceeds $1 million, collection stops at the end of the renewal cycle. Fees can't restart unless the fund drops below $500,000. Quick drill. 1. Max per transaction from the fund. Answer: $50,000. 2. Max aggregate against one licensee. Answer: $150,000. 3. Claim deadline rules. Answer: 2 years, act or discovery, but never more than 4 years after the act. Recap: Unit 6 is the exam's compliance and consequences unit, complaint and investigation process, probable cause and hearings, penalties and key timelines, recovery fund rules and numbers. Final line: Florida laws and rules can change. Verify the most current requirements through the Florida statutes, Florida Administrative Code, DBPR, and the Florida Real Estate Commission. Welcome to Key Terms, where we turn real estate words into real estate understanding. Let's begin. Unit 3 is your license survival kit. It's the rules behind the license, who regulates you, what your license status means, and what happens if you miss deadlines. Think of Florida real estate regulation like a highway system. Florida statutes are the highway laws. Florida Administrative Code rules are the road signs and speed limit details. The Department of Business and Professional Regulation is the agency that runs the system. The Division of Real Estate is the operations team that handles exams, records, investigations, and support work. The Florida Real Estate Commission is the rulemaking and discipline authority for real estate. Rapid check. Answer out loud. Answer included. 1. Statutes come from who? Answer. The Florida Legislature. 2. Administrative rules come from who? Answer. The Florida Real Estate Commission through rulemaking authority. 3. Who provides services like record keeping, exam services, investigations under the real estate chapter? Answer. The Division of Real Estate. Goal for this unit. When the exam asks, what status is this license? Or what happens if? You respond like it's automatic. Key term. Florida statutes. FS. Plain meaning. The actual laws passed by the legislature. In real estate, the big one is Chapter 475, Part 1. Key term, Florida Administrative Code, FAC. Plain meaning, the detailed rules written by the regulatory agency to enforce the statutes. Real estate rules live in Chapter 61J2, Exam Trap, people swap these. Statutes, the law says what? Rules, the law says how. Answer out loud. What's stronger, a statute or a rule? Answer, a statute. Rules can't contradict statutes. Key term, promulgates. Plain meaning, to officially adopt and publish a rule. Exam phrasing, the commission promulgates rules. The commission creates, adopts rules. Mini drill, promulgates means. Answer, officially adopts and publishes rules. Key term, Department of Business and Professional Regulation. Plain meaning, the umbrella state agency that oversees many professions, including real estate. Key term, Division of Real Estate. Plain meaning, the engine room that provides the services needed to regulate real estate licenses, things like record keeping, exam services, legal services, and investigations that support the real estate chapter. Exam trigger phrases. Provides services concerning Chapter 475, Division of Real Estate, Regulatory Umbrella Department, Department of Business and Professional Regulation. Answer out loud. Who handles the operational services that support regulation? Answer, the Division of Real Estate. Wrong answer magnet. People answer Florida Real Estate Commission for everything. The commission is the decision maker and rule maker. The division is the operations team. Key term, Florida Real Estate Commission. Plain meaning, the state commission created to protect the public through education and regulation of real estate licensees. It administers and enforces the real estate license law. Exam trigger phrases. Administers and enforces real estate license law. Florida Real Estate Commission. Adopts rules to implement the law. Florida Real Estate Commission. Rulemaking. Education of brokers and sales associates in ethics, legal principles, business principles. Florida Real Estate Commission duty. Answer out loud. Who can adopt real estate rules? Answer, the Florida Real Estate Commission. Quick reality tie-in. If you ever wonder, is this allowed? Your best trail is statute first, then administrative code rules, then department commission guidance. Key terms: active, inactive. Plain, meaning active. Your license is current and you're allowed to practice, properly registered, placed where required. Inactive, your license exists, but you cannot legally practice real estate. Key term: involuntarily inactive. Plain meaning, you did not renew on time at the end of the license period, so the system puts you in inactive status. Key term: voluntarily inactive. Plain meaning, you choose inactive status even though you're otherwise in good standing. Exam trap: inactive does not mean expired. It means not currently allowed to practice. Answer out loud. If your license is involuntarily inactive, can you perform real estate services for compensation? Eneem. Answer no. Memory hook: involuntary. The clock did it to you. Voluntary: you did it on purpose. Key term: post-licensing education. Plain meaning, the required education after initial licensure, completed before the first renewal. Sales associate post-licensing, 45 hours. Broker post-licensing, 60 hours. Exam consequence: if you don't complete required post-licensing by the first renewal deadline, your license becomes null and void. Answer out loud. Sales associate post-licensing hours. Answer: 45 hours. Broker post licensing hours? Answer: 60 hours. What happens if post licensing isn't done by first renewal? Answer: license becomes null and void. Key term: null and void. Plain meaning, you cannot operate under that license anymore. You must requalify, reapply as required. Key term: continuing education renewal. Plain meaning, the education required for each renewal cycle once you're past the first renewal. Standard renewal requirement: 14 total hours. Common breakdown: 3 hours core law, 3 hours ethics and business practices, 8 hours specialty education. Key term: legal agenda. Plain meaning, a 3-hour commission approved legal agenda course can count toward 3 hours of your continuing education for that renewal cycle, with timing approval rules. Answer out loud. How many hours for standard renewal continuing education? Answer: 14 hours. What are the 2 3-hour required topics commonly tested? Answer: core law, ethics, and business practices. How many hours can legal agenda count for? Answer: 3 hours. Exam trap: don't mix post licensing with continuing education. Post licensing is for first renewal, continuing education is for later renewals. Key term: reactivation education. Plain meaning, education required to bring an involuntarily inactive license back to current active eligibility. Exam timeline rules for involuntarily inactive: 12 months or less. You can renew by completing 14 hours of continuing education plus the renewal process. More than 12 months, but 24 months or less. You must complete 28 hours of reactivation education. More than 24 months, the license automatically expires and becomes null and void. Key term: hardship, illness, economic hardship. Plain meaning, there is a limited window where the commission may reinstate a license that became void if the failure was due to illness or economic hardship. Application must be made within 6 months after the license becomes void. Answer out loud. Involuntarily inactive for 10 months. How many hours? Answer: 14 hours. Involuntarily inactive for 18 months. How many hours? Answer: 28 hours. Involuntarily inactive for 26 months. Status? Answer: expired, null, and void. Hardship window question: how long do you have to apply for reinstatement after it becomes void? Hardship. Answer: within 6 months after it becomes void. Key term: cease to be in force. Plain meaning, the license stops being valid to operate under because certain required updates weren't handled properly. A license shall cease to be in force when a broker changes business address, or a sales associate changes employer, or a real estate school changes business address, and the required notice isn't handled correctly. Big exam number. You must notify the commission no later than 10 days after the change on the required form shoe process. Key term, current mailing address. Plain meaning, the address the department uses to contact you. Keep it updated. Answer out loud. How many days do you have to report a change of employer or address related change that triggers this notice requirement? Answer, 10 days. Exam trap. Students confuse this with renewal deadlines. This is a separate compliance clock. Key term, multiple licenses. Plain meaning, a broker may request additional broker licenses when necessary for business, subject to approval. Key rule, a sales associate or broker associate may have no more than one registered employer at a time. Key term, group license. Plain meaning, for an owner-developer who owns property through multiple connected entities. So a sales associate or broker associate can sell for all those entities under that group license structure. Key term, license authority voided plain, meaning a status used when a license is no longer in use, commonly tied to multiple licenses or related permissions, because obligations weren't met in a timely way. Answer out loud. Who can hold multiple licenses? Answer, a broker. How many registered employers can a sales associate have at once? Answer, 1. What is a group license for? Answer, owner developer with multiple connected entities, allows selling for all entities under the group structure. Quick recap line. Unit 3 is all about status plus deadlines. The exam will test whether you know what happens when the clock runs out. Before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who's preparing for the Florida real estate exam. If this lesson helped you, that tells me I'm doing my job. And if you're ready for more structured support, live instruction, and accountability, you're invited to join our online classes through License to Learn. You'll find the sign-up link below. Keep showing up, keep studying, and keep building the future you're working toward. I'll see you in the next lesson. Florida laws and rules can change. Verify the most current requirements through the Florida statutes, Florida Administrative Code, DBPR, and the Florida Real Estate Commission.